All right, so the road trip from hell is over, and the Avalanche drop the sixth and final game of this road trip, 6-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now they go back home, but will that solve anything right now? New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thanks for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And make sure you're following us on our YouTube channel. And make sure you hit subscribe, and you get notified when a new show goes live. And subscribe to our subtext. Link to that is in the show notes below. And when you do, you become a very special insider. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, and we get your opinions on everything Avalanche, including following games like this, which we will read a little bit later on. All right, Kyle. Road trip comes to an end. And this is as bad of a road trip as I can really ever remember in recent memory, anyway, for an Avalanche team. And we can break down like the nuts and bolts of it, and I'm sure we'll get to some specific plays that we saw that we didn't like or even liked, because this was a pretty good game for two periods, but where it just stops for me, man, is out of a possible 12 points, the Avalanche mustered 3. That's not, you can't sugarcoat that. That is what it is, and that's where the Avalanche are right now. It just, everything about that is ugly.
I can tell you how bad this road trip actually was. At the beginning of the road trip, Zach Parise made his NHL debut in 2024. And at the end of the road trip, he announced, "This is my last season in the NHL. I'm never doing this again."
So Zach Parise went from signing, finally getting back on the ice, to at the end of this 6-game road trip, you know what? I think this is going to be it for me.
Yep. That's how great this road trip has been for Zach Parise and the Colorado Avalanche.
You know, this game in particular, I thought this was a really entertaining game. I thought this was going the way that you thought this was going to go, a back and forth game. You know, one team would have the lead and the other team would grab it. I was in no misconception that the Avalanche were going to run away with this thing, for a couple of reasons. One, of just the way that they've been playing. Two, it's Tampa, who just gives you a good battle, who they've been playing very well. And if you listened yesterday, you know, we had the crossover with Adam, like, it's kind of similar teams. And overall, for 40 minutes, I was enjoying this game. I was getting into this game, and this, you know, it had kind of a playoff atmosphere when, you know, people like to use that for certain games. It had it. And then the Avs just really could not keep their foot on the gas in the third. And we'll get to that, but you could tell this just looked like an exhausted team to me. And which is so weird to say, because the third period has been their period. And for this road trip, everything that the Avalanche, like the good things that you can say the Avalanche have done for the course of the season, none of it was on display during this road trip. The only one, the Rangers game was a good game. That was a good game. And the Washington game, and maybe the one team that you absolutely should have beaten, is the only team that you absolutely beat, because you absolutely should have beaten them. Other than that, this is forgettable. This is as forgettable of a moment of the season, of a slice of the season, as you want to forget. And and watching this team as long as I have, and this particular team with this particular coach, I think they can do that. But right now, right here and now, like, this stings. Like I know you go through bad stretches in the course of the season, and we've seen it already from the Avalanche this year, and the Avs did it last year. at the end of well, what was it, December?
Mhm.
They had like a 7-game losing streak, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe like 1-7 or something like that. So you get this. It's never fun when you go through this and you have to correct mistakes, and they got to correct them now.
And the mistakes are bad. And
Mm,
there was a stretch about a minute and a half where I think the puck had a magnet in it, and it was just drawn to the center of the ice right in front of Eustace. And every time the Avalanche touched the puck, their zone transitions were so bad, it just kept going back to the middle, and it would get clogged up, and they would push it back to the boards. Somebody would touch the puck, and it goes right back to the middle, right between the dots. And it was so frustrating to see. Like the Avalanche were, it was like they were purposely trying to do this to themselves to make it harder on themselves. And this Lightning game was everything that we talked about in that Washington game that the Avalanche won despite of. Like Nathan McKinnon got a double minor called off.
mm,
Who would have thought? That doesn't happen to the Avalanche. They
mm.
they kept pushing, and they Eustace looked good. You had a new
Yeah,
goalie back there. He did not.
yeah.
I understand he let up goals, but he looked good. He made good saves along the way. And there was so many good things that you could draw from this game, but so many bad things at the same time. And who would have thought the offensive explosion in this? We talked with Adam about this heart to heart, the competitors going on head to head. Who would have thought Bo Byram would be the offense in this game?
Exactly. 2 goals from Bo. The first one getting away with a little shirt grabbing, but hey, I think he'll take him any way he can get him at this point. But he gets 2. It's things like at the end of the game, it's wrapped up. Well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. It's not wrapped up. But the Avalanche had pulled the goalie, and what is Tampa Bay trying to do? They had a couple shots where they fired it, the 190 feet, and got icing. Kucherov had a wide open net and missed it for another icing. And what was Tampa Bay trying to do? They were trying to force the puck to him to get him the hat trick and get him another goal. But they're only up by 1. If you're up by 2 when you're doing that, okay, they were forcing the issue to him. And in my mind, and I'm thinking, make them pay for that. And I just had it in my head of, if that was reversed, if the Avalanche were trying to force the puck to Nathan McKinnon to get him a hat trick when you're only up 1 and you fumble the puck and it doesn't happen, the way things are going right now for the Avalanche, it would have backfired on them. And the team that whether it was Tampa or anybody or San Jose, they something would have happened where, because the Avalanche are getting cute with the puck and trying to give it to McKinnon and get another point and get another hat trick, and they don't, and they fail, it would have been. I have no doubt about that. That's just the way things are going for the Avalanche right now, and the Avalanche don't do that. They don't do that. And you saw it
They,
multiple times with Nathan McKinnon when he gives up the puck to Logan O'Connor, so he can get a hat trick.
yep,
But that
exactly.
play there's nothing in between those two guys of stopping that from happening. Tampa Bay was forcing the issue. That just went through my head, and it's just like, that's the difference right now. Tampa Bay can mess around and not and still feel like we still got this game won.
And this is to be followed up by John Cooper deciding, I'm going to call a timeout with 15 seconds to
I
go.
don't know what that was about. What was
That
that? I,
I was shocked. I was shocked. And then I
I'm not
think
shocked with anything that guy does.
he
No.
did it, and then I've never seen a coach say, "Never mind, I don't want that timeout," and wave it
Yeah.
off. That was also it was one of those, like, please just get us back to Ball Arena as fast as possible. The NHL hates this.
And then you had Nathan McKinnon take a shot right to his face with a puck. They kept saying it hit his visor. I was like, I think Mosier or Riker was actually saying, like, we saw it on like the super slow where it hits his visor. We'll show that. I want to see it, because the puck is just coming so quick at him. It gets him right in the face. Blood is just pouring out. I thought, he's not coming back today. and let's hold out hope this is not a long-term thing. And it wasn't. He's a hockey player, and he came back out. I think he only missed 5, 6, 7 minutes of game time, and he came back out. So again, we say this all the time with injuries like that. How does this feel tomorrow? That's not going to feel good tomorrow. Does this have any staying or lingering effects where does he need a day off or a game off or two? That remains to be seen.
After busting his face in the Florida game, this has been a rough week for Nathan MacKinnon's face.
He wants to get home, no doubt about it. All right, we'll kind of get into some specifics on this game. We got some subtext people that want to chime in, and of course we have our sound check, which we'll get to. We'll do all that coming up. First, let's hear from eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. It's what brings home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, which we call... I can't hear you. You're muted. It's called the Nathan MacKinnon Trilogy. eBay Motors has got you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. And with all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home the win. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, we good?
Did you say Nikita Kucherov trilogy?
I did not say Nikita.
Oh, okay.
All right, so where do we start with this game? Because I thought the beginning was good, and I don't know if you want to start with the good stuff or the bad stuff or somewhere in between. What stuck out to you in this game?
Well, we talked about it with Adam Denker. The Tampa Bay Lightning were rolling into this matchup with the number one power play in the league, and the Colorado Avalanche held them to no goals on the power play, and the Avalanche actually managed to get one
Did
on
that
the
one
power
count?
play.
Did it count?
Yes.
Yes, it did count. Okay, because I knew it was right at the end, so they did get one. All right.
So that was like 2 for 20 on the road trip.
Yeah.
But hey, that's a win. That's a good win. And the other stat that we talked about, they are really good at faceoffs. The Tampa Bay Lightning are really, really good at faceoffs. And this was a close faceoff draw. This was 55-45. So it's what you want to see. Those are little wins, little things to build off of, but the positioning and the puck handling and the zone transitions are just, they're sinking the ship.
Well, the zone transition for the Byram goal was phenomenal. That was great, and that's how things started. That got the goals going in this game, and you still had defensive turnovers in the defensive zone. The one that is just probably going to be talked about a lot was the blown coverage by, I'm pretty sure it was Ross Colton, that gave Kucherov his second goal. Like, how you leave Kucherov that wide open, he just left him alone, and he was cheating a little bit. It seemed like I thought maybe he saw something where he thought, because he was not playing the puck, he was playing Kucherov, and maybe he saw something where he thought his guys were going to create a turnover, so he kind of cheated a little bit, and he is at the blue line, maybe a little bit into the neutral zone, and Kucherov is just all by himself on the wing. Nobody is over there. And you give Braden Point a lot of credit for being able to get the puck to him, and it was, Kucherov had to make an incredible play. He kicks it, he was just, one of those stick handling in a phone booth type of things where it hits his skates, but he kicks it to his stick and he roofs it. I mean, that guy's got talent that's off the charts, right? but you cannot lose that guy. I don't care if you potentially have a breakaway, because that's what happens when you don't have a breakaway. He will bury you. You're muted.
And we talked about this in the Carolina game, the New Jersey game. Is this now the thing that teams are scouting, is the defensive lapses? We talked about it the entire week. Is this going to be something that playoff teams, like, what's that going to look like in a playoff matchup when you're having to play the same team night in, night out? Unless this thing could get corrected, this is going to, I understand the Avalanche are in a good playoff spot, and you could tell me all the rah, like, this team's in good shape, don't freak out. But things like this, the little things, if you could just stay on the blue line, knowing nobody's going to touch you, and it's not like this is a no name. Like, you got Stamkos, you got Kucherov. They know what's going on with this defense, and it's bad. And Cale Makar with turnovers, and bad positioning. Like, if that's your top line defensive talent, and if that's where it's coming, like, it's dissolved to that level all the way down. Like, even Manson was making some bad plays. It's something that really has to get corrected, because honestly, if they would have played a cleaner game, Eustace would have had a better game, and I think we would have a whole different conversation and optimism going back into Ball Arena with how Eustace played and the corrections made on defense. If you get those problems fixed, there's a lot to look forward to on this team. But the defense is just atrocious right now, and there's no way you could clean it up.
And I thought they were battling. Like, there were things that were not going their way. That one goal from Tampa, where it just takes that weird bounce off the board, and Gerard's trying to clear it, and it goes right off of I think it was Braden Point. Did he get the first one? I don't know. Doesn't matter. So you get that freakish thing. Is it Point? Okay.
Yep.
And then you get up, and then what? Like 19 seconds later, 13 seconds later, it's Stamkos who's cherry picking, who's so good at doing that. Which I don't like. I would have maybe taken a look at that if I was the Avs. They weren't showing really the views that they were showing on altitude made me look like, okay, or feel like he was offsides. But they were looking at other ones that are like, oh, it's really close. It's not worth challenging that. And I get why you don't, because at that point in time, it's only tied. Yeah, you just gave, like, you had, and that was the other part of it. You had the lead in the third going into this thing, and then they rattle off 4 goals, and when you had the lead, you had it for some seconds, and it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's like you're battling. The Bo Byram second goal was beautiful. They didn't stop playing. Vasilevsky didn't have the puck secured, and here comes Bo Byram, and what a play he made to have two moves with his stick, and he has no place to move his stick, but somehow he gets that puck in. Beautiful. I was happy with all the battling, and then it's just in the third when they gave up that goal 13 seconds after, wherever how seconds it was after taking the lead. It just that was like a demoralizing goal that you don't typically see an Avalanche team fall into that hole and stay there, but it's like they did.
I think it was one of those that deeper into the game, all the sentiments that we were talking about, this hell road trip, how bad it was, how bad everything was looking, I feel like it's one of those that the team's just ready to go home and reset.
Yeah.
Because it's honestly, what does it matter if you get the 2 points in this against Tampa Bay? What do you say? Well, we got what, 5 points? Like,
no, I know, but like you're finishing the road trip on. You always want to finish a road trip on a win, especially one like this. And then you're on a 2-game winning streak. You finish the road trip on you can say that, you can spin it that way, that we finished the road trip with 2 straight wins, and you can pull something out of that.
Well, this is also on the heels of, like, everything's frustrating. You try, and then Tampa comes right back. Nathan McKinnon goes off because he busts his face, and then immediately gets high stick right into the face. Like
And
it's one of those like let's just get home before
yeah.
somebody gets injured and we just further embarrass ourselves. It's honestly the Avalanche tucked their tails and went home.
Which you don't see them do a lot. Like
No.
that is not a typical Avalanche. It's weird. Like I don't want to. I mean, I think that's going to like the extreme of just saying like they completely stopped playing. I don't think they stopped playing, but you could just see like the shoulders just sagging.
Yep.
Geez, like we battled for that lead. And we have it. All right. Now let's tighten up on D. Let's do all the things that you do when you're on the road and you have a lead in the third period. And you didn't even have time like to really celebrate that goal because Tampa's already tied it. So it was just one of those moments. It was a turning point in the game, and it didn't need to be because Tampa wasn't in the lead yet. They just tied it. So just weird to see an Avalanche team to do that, if you ask me.
And no goals from Mikko or Nate. That also really stung a little bit, especially with Kucherov doing what he's doing. Like you would like to see Nathan McKinnon like that head to head. Like they do it when they're not playing in the same game, having 3-point nights and 4-point nights. Like Nathan, it would be nice to see him, chasing that a little bit. Mikko has been invisible since the All-Star break. So it's just not what you want to go home with, but that's where we are.
Yeah. I thought the Avalanche had chances. Tampa Bay was not really pressing them defensively. So Colorado had some pretty good looks. Zach Parise hit the bar.
Yeah.
And late in the third. So the chances were there. And this continues to be the difference. The Avalanche just don't seem to be converting on all their chances. You can't expect them to convert on all their chances, but they're not converting on some of them anyway. And that's the difference. All right, let's get one more quick break in here. And then on the other side, we'll hear from our subtext people. And of course, get to our sound check. So we'll do all that coming up next. All right. Our sponsor today is Camino Consulting. And how would you like to get to know someone better in an hour than you would in a year? Understanding one another better prevents small misunderstandings from becoming big ongoing fights. And after providing more than 20 years of service to small and mid-sized businesses, helping management groups navigate conflict and onboarding new employees, Camino is offering a digital seminar for families and couples. Did your Valentine's gift of tickets to the game not go over as well as you had hoped? Then get the couples and family online seminar for 25% off for the first month of February when you use the code Locked On. Again, that discount code of Locked On is for 25% off for the rest of the month at CaminoConsulting.ca. Or mention Locked On when reaching out for a business seminar and receive the first 5 profiles for free. That website again is CaminoConsulting.ca and use the promo code Locked On for 25% off. All right, let's turn to some subtext people here. Who do we got? This first one is Easton. You know what, man? We haven't even really mentioned this. Really missing, obviously, Val and Logan O'Connor. Bo giving us a glimpse of Stanley Cup Finals. Bo and 1-4-1 is inexcusable for a road trip. Would Val Nichushkin and Logan O'Connor made this road trip a 5-1-0 road trip? No, I don't think so. But you maybe would have won a couple more games. Logan O'Connor missed the last 2, and obviously Val's been out for all of it. But those are big pieces of this team. So sure, maybe the tides turn a little bit because Val's the body that you need up front for those power plays, and Logan O'Connor is just the burst of energy that you need all the time. That hurts, but overall, it's tough to say that, much would have been different on the road trip, the way that the Avs are playing.
Yeah, well, with Val, I'm pretty sure the Ranger game might be a different outcome.
Yeah.
Possibly that New Jersey game.
Yeah, probably them too. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he makes a difference in every game. So it's tough. Tanya says, well, I'd love because I wrote the question, make sure you send in your thoughts. And she said, I'd love to, but quote, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. So she's going to bed.
You know what? Good idea, Tanya.
I think we're all gonna Kyle's out. I think I'm ready to sleep this one off too, because it was a frustrating one, obviously. We got that was Easton again. So this is Madam Battle Axe, I believe. Yes, it is. And I feel bad for her because she was a victim of the blackout.
Oh,
because she lives in Florida. I forgot about that. So she wasn't able to watch it. So she's missing the game. She did see Lehkonen score on the power play. At least we know he's an everydayer because he listened.
That's right.
Very true. I'm not sure what to say. All I could see was the final score. Not sure what could be said except she has $100 towards the crusade for a backup goalie. Come on, everybody. Let's all pitch in. So I don't know if that helps Madam Battle Axe. I think we have a salary cap that we're against, but I like the thought. Let's all pool our money together somehow and maybe underneath under the radar. Can we do like some Subway stuff and nobody needs to know. Just get a GoFundMe going. Say, hey, Chris McFarland, here's tens of dollars that we put together for you. And whoever you go get, just give them a little something underneath the table that nobody needs to know about.
No, we have a backup goalie. He's in Loveland right now. You seen Prosvitov's numbers lately?
I posted that. Like, what? Dude, he's on fire down there. What's he, like a 9.53 save percentage or something like that? Dude.
Give him the Vezina.
Come on now. And I think that's it for subtext. So, yeah, the Logan O'Connor thing, not that I forgot about it, but just not at the forefront of my mind after a game like this. But stats-wise, let's see. You had Colton with the assist. You had Drouin with an assist. McKinnon with 2 assists. Lehkonen goal and assist. Rantanen with 1 assist. Defensive end, Byram with the 2 goals. And that is it. Taves and Makar were both -3. Sammy G was a -2. The only defender who was plus was Jack Johnson. Manson was a 0, so he's even. But when you have and on the forward end, Zach Parise was a -3, Miles Wood was a -3. And I know plus minus is not the end all be all, but it gives you a little bit of a glimpse.
And for those keeping score at home, Ryjo started on the 4th line and finished out with 12 minutes.
It's just noticeable how much he is struggling.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It just really is noticeable that he's trying. I think he's trying as best he can, but his best is for this team is just noticeable how much lacking it is. And I kind of feel bad for the guy right now because he's a veteran. He's probably not happy how this is going, clearly. I'm sure he thought this was going to go different. But it's just noticeable. It's noticeable right now, and I got to wonder where things go from him. I don't know.
Yeah, I doubt there will be any moment of burgundy and blue jersey in the Ryjo career highlight package.
Yeah, it's been rough. All right, last bit of business we have, and that is our Locked On Avalanche sound check. And Kyle and I picked one song that best describes the most recent game, and these songs go up on a playlist over on Spotify. Just search for LOA sound check. We are in volume number 3. So what do you have for this one, Lightning and Avs?
We're going to go with one close to the heart, literally and figuratively. Okay. We're going to go with The Grateful Dead from April 26th, 1972, Frankfurt, Germany. Going down the road, feeling bad. I don't want to be treated this way. We're going down the road, feeling bad.
I think we're doing some road songs today, and it makes all the sense in the world. What's so good about that one? It's just a different.
It's a beautiful, it's a good jam and beautiful album artwork on this version. But no, it's just and Merle Sanders is on the track as well. So it's
Okay.
a great track.
All right. Yeah, I had to go. I had to hit the road too with a track for mine. And when I picked this, I was like, man, like, is this the first Boss song we've ever had? Like, that's that. I got to go back and check Volume 1 and Volume 2 because I'm a Springsteen fan. I got to think I put a Springsteen song somewhere on Volume 1 and Volume 2. I mean, we've got hundreds of songs on all these. There has to be one, but I maybe there's not. You don't think so?
I don't think so.
You might be right. So I want to apologize to Bruce Springsteen, who I'm sure is an everydayer of the Locked On Avalanche podcast, for waiting this long to get a Boss song on here. But Thunder Road is going on, and that's what it's been. It's just been a miserable road, and there's really not much else to say about it, Kyle. It's just we could sit here for another half hour and just come up with all different ways to talk about how it's been a god awful road trip. But you don't really like, you can just say that. And I think everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. We don't need to push the envelope anymore on that one.
I'm glad you put the Boss finally on a playlist because I heard he was born to run.
Oh, well played, sir. Well played. All right. That's going to wrap it up, folks. That's going to wrap it up for this week. That's going to wrap it up for this road trip. Avs cannot wait to get home. The next one is
Arizona.
Sunday, Arizona. What I'm looking at the one after that. That is Vancouver.
I believe that's the dead night.
That is. I think you're right. So get right against Arizona, and then welcome Vancouver, and let's see what we got from there. All right. So that'll wrap it up, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on all our social media outlets, and be sure to subscribe to our subtext as well. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. It's over. The road trip is done. Let's get back to winning. All right. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
We're going home.